On Sunday the 18th of February 2001, Robert drove to his local park. As usual, he strolled through the quiet wooded common carrying a black bin bag. He walked down to a creek and taped the bag to the underside of the wooden footbridge that spanned it. As he returned to his car, a team of FBI agents emerged, guns drawn and yelling for him to freeze. Robert simply asked, "What took you so long?" A fair question, as the bag he had just dropped off contained highly classified documents and a computer disk storing more. Hanssen was a double agent, and had been for over 20 years, spying first for the USSR and then for Russia, described by the US Department of Justice as the most damaging spy in FBI history. This is the story of Robert Philip Hanssen. The most damaging perhaps, but certainly not the most competent. Growing up during the Cold War, Robert was enamored by James Bond books and the romanticized world of espionage they portrayed, deciding to become a spy at the age of 14. But Hanssen was no super spy. This is rather a tale of baffling incompetence on both sides, and repeated missed opportunities to catch him. In 1976, he was hired out of the Chicago police force by the FBI, becoming a database manager in the Counterintelligence Division. It was while working here in 1979, with unrestricted access to secret Russian files, that he began selling information to the Soviets, continuing this once he was transferred to the Soviet Analytical Unit in Washington. He was first caught in 1981, not by his colleagues in the FBI, but by his wife. She discovered him reading Russian communiques in their basement. Perhaps he should have locked the door. With her encouragement, he confessed to a priest, who granted him absolution. The US government, however, won't be quite so forgiving. On the priest's suggestion, Hanssen claims to have donated thousands of his ill-gotten gains to Mother Teresa's charity. By 1985, however, he returned to spying, delivering documents and disks to the Soviet Union, providing his handlers with thousands of pages of information on everything from American strategies in the event of a nuclear war to cutting-edge military weapons technology. This included the identities of dozens of active and former American agents stationed within the Soviet Union, at least 3 of whom were executed after Hanssen exposed them. He was almost caught again in 1992, having lost contact with his handlers during the collapse of the USSR. Hanssen went to the Russian embassy in person and physically approached the Russian officer in the parking lot. Hanssen identified himself by his Soviet code name and described himself as a disinfected FBI agent who was offering his services as a spy. The Russian officer drove away and later filed an official protest with the US State Department, believing no one could be that brazen and that Hanssen must be a triple agent. The FBI failed to investigate. Another close call later, after his computer broke, a digital investigation found that an attempted hacking had occurred using a password cracking program installed by Hanssen. Hanssen claimed he was trying to connect a printer to his computer, but needed the malicious software to bypass the administrative password. The FBI believed this story, and Hanssen was merely given a warning. The FBI finally became suspicious of Hanssen when a KGB dossier bought from a former Russian officer containing details that implicated him. A secret investigation began. They moved Hanssen into a bugged office and placed him under 24-hour surveillance. An agent managed to download the data off his encrypted Palm Pilot when he left it in his office, finishing only moments before Hanssen returned. This revealed the dead drop in the park and ultimately led to his arrest red-handed. Hanssen had no political or ideological motives for treason. Rather, he seemed to simply enjoy the thrill of the chase, living out his teenage fantasy of being James Bond. There was also the $1.4 million he received in bribes. That might have had something to do with it. Much of this was spent rather mundanely, paying for home improvements and private school fees. Somewhat less mundane was the purchase of gifts to the exotic dancer named Tracy Starr or Misty Dawn. These included expensive jewelry, a laptop, cash, a credit card, a trip to Hong Kong, and a Mercedes-Benz. She claimed he never sought a sexual relationship with her and simply wanted her to convert to Catholicism and find God. You can believe that if you want to. After his arrest, he negotiated a deal to avoid the death penalty and told the court he was shamed by his actions. He pleaded guilty to 15 counts of espionage. In 2002, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. He spent the rest of his life in a super maximum security facility in Colorado, held in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. On the 5th of June 2023, at the age of 79, he was found dead in his cell, ruled to be of natural causes.